And number one whenever and wherever you want to talk sports.
Now it's time for Monty in the Morning.
One job every day. It is Tuesday, August 10th, 2021. Hi, Jake.
Hello.
All right, let's get to work. Jake's only job every day is to make sure the music is playing. How'd that go today? What? I mean, fucking, Dinger or N-bomb? Some people just shouldn't be on ESPN. Wait until you hear this audio.
It's bad.
Oh, my God. I mean, Tony Collins, we'll talk about that. We have got to talk about Luka Doncic's new deal with the Dallas Mavericks. That's a huge contract, in line with what everybody else is getting, and I guess that justifies it. No, I would not pay Luka Doncic.
What about Luka's mom?
I wouldn't need to pay her because she wants it.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
What? Anyway, the point is BYU hasn't named a quarterback yet. My wife's out of town, so I slept like shit. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the fucking show.
Yeah. That was quick. I'm proud of you.
I know.
Make sure you subscribe to the show. We're giving away a Traeger Ironwood 650 smoker that we're probably going to buy from our friends at Barbecue Pit Stop. Who are we kidding? It is the best smoker on the market. We're giving it away when we get to 2,500 subs.
Subs!
You simps. Make sure you hit subscribe, then take a photo that you are subscribed. And once you are subscribed, find us on Instagram, Twitter, or the TikTok. Oh, I'm sorry, TikTok. The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show. And you have to tag us both, SLC Supercars. Real funny. What do you want to start with today? NBA contracts or?
Yeah, sure, I guess. Yeah.
Dinger versus N-bomb.
No, we should start with NBA contracts because that's what we said the show was about. So.
All right, so on ESPN last night, we were watching Summer League, and there were a bunch of NBA dudes who had big contracts there. All right, let's talk about dingers. No, I'm kidding. There's a lot of dudes getting paid in the NBA right now. Luka Doncic yesterday got $207 million. $41.4 million a year. And immediately it made us wonder aloud, is he really worth all that? And you hear about all these contract extensions from Trey Young to Kevin Durant to Steph Curry. And of course, what comes on the books for the Utah Jazz this year? Donovan Mitchell's contract. And so the question has to be asked, who is the best young player in the NBA? Jake, you can only get one. Who you taking?
Yeah, I mean, the best young player right now, I mean, I think Donovan's definitely right there. I think coming off of this year, you know, he went really far in the playoffs by young player standards. So to me, you know, if I'm building an organization, Don is the guy that I would go with. Now, a lot of people are going to say Luka or, you know, Trey Young or, you know, any of these guys. Yeah, you know. Like, that's who a lot of people will go with, but I'm telling you right now, I think of the young players we have in the league, Donovan Mitchell is the best of the group, mainly because he doesn't have chemistry issues with his teammates. He's not a problem. You know, that's my biggest thing with Luka and why I'm so surprised they gave him this extension. Yes, he is good, but what has he really done? I mean, if you think about it, what has Luka Doncic really done in the league outside of making a highlight tape? Outside of that, has he won anything? No. Has he cultivated a relationship with Kristaps Porzingis? No. It's to the point where Kristaps doesn't even want to play in Dallas anymore because they don't have a good relationship. Anybody notice that they didn't really get any major free agents? Wonder why that is. So I start looking at this situation and I start saying, man, do guys really want to play with Luka? Is Luka somebody that is loved in the league by players? Is Luka somebody that you're turning down less money to go and play with? Donovan Mitchell is, right? Utah is. We've seen that. We've heard that. We heard it with Rudy Gay. You know, we heard it with Hassan Whiteside. We've heard it with several of these signings. So that's why I say, who's the best young player right now? I think it almost has to be Donovan Mitchell. I don't really even know that, you know, when you look at total package, not just what's on the floor, but total package, I think Don's by far got the most complete game.
Well, but I also think there's more to this conversation than complete game or championships or playoffs, or I think the ability for the next 5 years, because that's what these contracts run. Now, are all these guys, Trey Young, Donovan Mitchell, Luka Doncic, are these guys going to be on their current teams for the next 5 years? Yeah, actually, I think they will be. And so the question has to be, which team is in position to win a championship first? I would certainly not rank the Dallas Mavericks at the top of that list. And one of the reasons that I think that's so clear to me is because Luka Doncic has this reputation problem where he bitches and moans at officials. We saw it during the regular season. We saw it during the playoffs. And sadly, it continued into the Olympic tournament. And I think it got worse. And they absolutely took a swooping in NBA free agency. Nobody wants to play in Dallas right now, and I think Luka Doncic is a big part of that because there aren't many other NBA owners that you'd rather play for than Mark Cuban. Dallas is a great market to live in, though it's humid as hell and you sweat through your clothes. Other than that, it's fine. But the point is, nobody wants to play with Luka Doncic right now, and I think that's a big part of building around a guy like that. I think if you're talking championships and young players, I think you have to be looking at the Atlanta Hawks and the Utah Jazz. And frankly, I think the Atlanta Hawks have an easier road. The Eastern Conference certainly is easier to get through. But I don't know how you side with anybody but Donovan Mitchell in this discussion. The guy showed you everything you needed to know. He has heart. He plays through injuries. Not well at times, but he plays through injuries. And when he's healthy, the guy is absolutely a stud. I don't know how you even consider, Jake, taking another player over Donovan Mitchell here.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like I said, I mean, I think Donovan is showing us what he's all about. Now, I do think that, the conversation about winning championships is an important one, and I do maintain that Donovan could do everything within his power, and they still wouldn't win a championship, mainly because of what's going on around him. So we'll see how it all comes together. But at the end of the day, what I know is that Trey Young has a pretty solid team around him as well, and we know that he loves to be the villain. So we know that he's more than happy to go on the road and be the underdog. We know that him and that team love that role. So that's why I say, overall, have they signed the major free agent name yet? No, they haven't. Is that on Trey Young? No, I don't think so. Not in his situation because they didn't really want to spend the money. I look at Luka's situation and I say they're more than willing to spend the money. They were trying to get, think of all the names they were trying to get. I mean, hell, what were we talking about? We were talking about, I know for a fact they were looking at Lonzo. I know there were some rumors swirling around about, Dallas potentially trying to do a DeMar deal. There were a lot of guys that they were after, and everybody said no. And that to me is the truest sign. So I just think if you're a Jazz fan, you should be really thrilled with what Donovan has shown you so far. And I think the question really is, what is going to enable Donovan Mitchell to take that next step to get to the Western Conference Finals and then, of course, to get to the NBA Finals? Because I think that's where Jazz fans are at.
Where does Don rank like Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, LeBron James?
I mean, I don't think he's in that group yet. I think the conversation that always pisses Jazz fans off is the Devin Booker comparison because they're so close. Like, I think Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, those three guys in particular are kind of in their own little group. They're very even with what they do. And then I think there's a cut above them for sure. I mean, I think Dame, Steph, you have who else would you throw in there? I mean, like you got to ask about Ja Morant.
But I don't put Dame amongst the elite players in the NBA yet. I mean, and I think when you look at his age and you look at the fact they haven't taken the next step, I think Portland's made a Herculean effort to do that. He has a running mate in CJ. I think there is some proving ground that still has to be gone over for Damian Lillard.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think he still is proving that he can win, but I do think that, winning is part of being an elite player. Okay, if you want to throw him in the cut below those guys then. Either way, the guy, I don't think anybody doubts that the guy can torch any team. The guy can take over a game and single-handedly win you a game.
Best player in the NBA right now, I think, by far, is Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
I think the second best player in the NBA is a huge debate. because I seriously don't know the answer to that. I don't know that it's LeBron James right now today. Before he got hurt last year, before his ankle turned in directions no human ankle should turn, I would have said LeBron James is the best player in the NBA. But at some point, you run into the wall where you can't recover. And I need to see LeBron back on the floor. I also think I saw a guy in the playoffs that just couldn't do the job in LeBron James. Mm-hmm. I don't know who the second best player in the NBA is. I think there is some conversation around Steph Curry.
Yeah.
I think he earned every penny of that $50 million deal he signed. I would put James Harden in that conversation. I think Kyrie is vastly underrated strictly as a basketball player. Now, he's a dipshit as a guy. The guy is he's not somebody I would ever want on my team.
What an idiot.
Yeah, but if we're talking about best players in the NBA, I think they got 3 of the top 7 to 10 players in the NBA without question.
Without question, yeah. To me, so I do put Steph as the second best player just because, he's been healthy. He's shown the ability to carry his team. He's taken over games. There's nobody else like him in the league. I think we can all agree on that, the way he plays the game and what he's able to do. So I put him as the second best player in the league. I would probably go LeBron after that, and then it's probably Harden. And
Harden or Giannis?
I would take James Harden. I'm not a Giannis guy. I know that he put 50 up in the postseason, but at the end of the day, I think there are ways to beat Giannis, and it just wasn't executed properly.
Kyrie or Giannis?
I'm
taking Kyrie, and it's not close.
Well,
this game is not about the skill set that Giannis has. If you put Giannis up against just about any player in this league, he's going to score.
Yeah, Kyrie's hit the big shot.
But you can defend Giannis. You can defend Giannis. I don't know that there's a way to defend Kyrie Irving because you're not going to keep him in front of you. You're not going to stop him from making 3s and 2s.
Yeah, he's his own worst enemy. He's
absolutely.
He's been the only one to stop himself.
I think if we're talking top 5 players, I think I'm Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, LeBron James. Those are my top 3.
And that's really where the water gets kind of murky.
Yeah, I think I'm going Kyrie 4, Giannis 5, James Harden 6. And then, from there, I think you got to be looking at guys like Luka Doncic. There's something that feels wrong about Luka. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that is. Everybody labels him as the likable guy.
He's not.
And maybe this is where we need our viewers to pipe. Is Luka Doncic a likable figure?
Yeah. How James Harden was hated when he was in Houston at the end there? Is Luka different? Is Luka liked?
Yeah.
From the fan perspective. I'd be interested to hear that.
Eric C., first one in this morning. Good morning to you. James Knight, morning, boys. Have a great show. Thanks. Omar says, good morning, you yahoos. Good morning. Brylark says, morning, boys. Brylark also says, can't wait for all the coke and hooker stories since Mrs. Monty is out of town.
Welcome to the fucking show.
I stayed up till 10:30 last night. I got crazy and stayed up till 10:30.
What were you doing?
Well, my forearm's tired, man.
Really?
No.
Cocaine and hookers, my friend.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. The sleeping in a California king-size bed by yourself.
You didn't like it. Wow.
We'll talk about it. Brylark says Steph is number 2. I don't know if LeBron is even in the top 5 at this point in his career after the injury. LeBron's really a lightning rod because so many people don't like LeBron for the activism and the Black Lives Matter and, the school and the tax write-off and he's really good and he makes more money than you, which pisses you off. There's a lot of people who don't like LeBron.
Yeah.
If you don't respect LeBron, you just don't watch the game. I have a lot of respect for LeBron James. I don't like LeBron. I don't like the way he plays the game. I don't like, it is what it is, though. I think LeBron is...
I think the top 5 discussion for LeBron is definitely a legitimate conversation. We have to see...
He's top 5. Come on.
No, we have to see what he does on the floor now. And I still maintain he's got huge potential this season because of all the rest. But if you think about it, who would you rather have right now? I mean, seriously, think about it. I mean, you know, look at his teammates. I mean, obviously, we got to talk about Anthony Davis. No, is Anthony Davis not one of the top 5 best players in the league right now?
No, I don't think he is.
Okay, top 10. He's got to be top 10.
Okay.
Are you taking Jokic before Anthony Davis? I mean, he got the MVP, but if we just look at nuts and bolts on the floor,
he played 72 games.
Yeah.
Nikola Jokic played 72 games and averaged, 6 points a game?
Yeah, and a bunch of assists.
And the guy's a stud.
Yeah.
You know who we haven't said yet? Bradley Beal.
Yeah, Bradley Beal isn't quite top 10 yet. I don't know about that. He can really score, but I'm talking about overall package because you look at what all these other guys can do, and it's different. It's on another level.
Dude, I don't know, man. I think... I don't know what else does Bradley Beal have to do that make him a total package. I mean,
something more than just scoring. There's a difference between being a scoring champion and being one of the best players in the league. Best players in the league doesn't just mean you can score.
Yeah.
Which is why James Harden's improvement on defense has brought him up the list.
Kawhi Leonard?
Yeah, Kawhi Leonard's definitely one of the best players in the league. No doubt about it.
Paul
best
George.
two-way player in the league for sure.
Paul George.
He's
two-way
great.
player in the league for sure.
Kawhi's the best two-way player in the league without a doubt.
Wow.
I think Paul George, I don't know, man. He's a top 10 player in the league for sure, but I think he's scraping into the top 10.
Yeah.
That would be the best way I could say it. Because, okay, so the for sure locks, top 10 players in the league, right? The locks, no doubt about it, that we could all agree on would be KD, Steph, LeBron. Giannis has to be there.
Giannis.
James Harden,
Kyrie Irving.
Okay, so that's 6. And then it's these last 4 that are really tough.
Is Luka one of the top 10 players in the NBA?
I don't know, man. I'm not ready to say he is. I'm not certainly saying he's, outside of the top 15, but top 10 is very exclusive.
Donovan Mitchell?
Donovan Mitchell's not top 10 yet. No, not yet.
Devin Booker?
I don't think he's top 10 either.
Jason Tatum?
Jason Tatum's close. He's close, but not yet.
Damian Lillard?
Yeah, for me, Dame is a top 10 player. Yeah, I agree with you that he has proving in the winning category to do. Yes, I agree. But I think that you can hand him the ball and say, hey, go win me the game. And he will do that.
Ben Simmons? Just kidding. Trey Young?
No, not yet. Not yet. He's coming.
Man.
He's coming, but not yet. What has he done? This is the first year in the postseason.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I look at...
By the way, in the comments, who are we forgetting? Are we forgetting someone that you feel is a top 10 NBA player?
Yeah. Emmanuel Kwajadoshibu says, where would you rank Conley in the league?
I don't know. That's
not top 10.
That he's not in the best players in the league conversation. He's in the where does he rank among point guards conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably true, James. James Knight says that Paul George enhanced his rep. Stop sending me disappearing messages, you cocks. Ace says you're dramatically devaluing Donovan Mitchell. No, actually, I'm not. I'm not.
He's not a top 10 player yet, man. He's definitely top 20.
So
the question is he top 15?
And this confirms that Ace can't comment on YouTube because we're back. I'm not reading disappearing messages anymore.
Vanish mode.
I'm not. Okay, See, just the fucking fact that I have to know another name of something.
Mode.
The fact I have to know another name of something, vanish mode, when I can't remember my name most days.
Yeah.
Stop with this. Oh.
It's just not worth it.
No. Look, I love the NBA. I digress. I love the NBA.
Right.
Rudy Sanchez says Jokic is top 10 for sure. Who's better, Donovan Mitchell or Damian Lillard?
See, that's a really tough conversation, right? We've had this conversation on the show. You guys remember when the Damian Lillard stuff first started? We remember a couple weeks ago, or probably a month ago now, actually. Jeez, it's gone by fast.
Yeah.
A month ago when everyone was like, oh my God, Dame went to Weber State. He's coming to the Jazz. We're winning a championship. Yeah, that didn't happen for obvious reasons. But I think that's when these conversations really kicked off.
I don't think they're a great fit together.
Yeah,
I don't.
You mean Don and Dame
together on the same floor on the same team?
Yeah,
but they're different players in that Dame has evolved into a scorer that scores by shooting. Don still hasn't figured out you can't play at and above the rim and stay in the NBA a long time.
Yeah, stay healthy. Yeah.
So we'll see how he evolves. But I don't know. James Knight says. Where does Joe Ingles fit into the top 10? I'm kidding. He didn't say that.
Oh, what a loser!
That was funny. That was funny.
Unfair comparison. Dame is 9 years older, right? Well, yeah.
But I think that age difference you can make a case that helps Donovan versus Dame.
No, you can make a case that helps Dame because he's still at a high level, even though he's 76 years old. Yeah. Right, in NBA years. It just is. Listen, I think Damian Lillard's a great player. I just don't think he's in that group of the top 10. Frankly, I have trouble putting Dame as an elite player because of what's going on in Portland. They're melting down. They are in need of a leader, and I don't know that Dame's that leader. Because when you're talking about, I'm not sure if I'm going to ask for a trade. Okay, well, that means you're not a good leader. Mm-hmm. You're when you leave stuff in limbo like this, I've lost a little respect for Damian Lillard through this whole thing in Portland. Mm-hmm. Supporting a guy in Chauncey Billups to be your head coach and then figuring out that he has a bad past and you're like, oh, now I don't support him. Well, maybe you should have done your homework before you supported him. Like, I've lost a little for Damian Lillard.
Yeah.
In this offseason.
There's definitely been an adventure.
Having said that, the guy's a phenomenal player. He's not top 10.
Okay.
Fair
enough.
Kyrie Irving, think about guards. Kyrie Irving or Damian Lillard all day.
I'd rather, to be honest with you, and I'm not even being stubborn, I'd rather have Dame.
No, I'd
rather have Dame.
I can't see.
What good are
is
you not on the
hiring
floor?
A co-host. If you'd like to apply.
I will chain you to a pipe!
If you'd like to apply, send me a vanishing message.
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, no. I think it's ridiculous to take Damian Lillard over
Why
Kyrie
is it
Irving.
ridiculous?
One, Kyrie got COVID. What other player, changes his religion in the middle of a season? That's why you're taking Kyrie Irving.
What guy goes to a party during the middle of one of the biggest pandemics we've ever had and misses games?
That's Kyrie Irving for you.
The coronavirus.
Kyrie Irving's skill set is amazing. His game is more in depth than Dame's. The handle that Kyrie brings.
He's got a better handle, there's no doubt.
I think he's got the best handle in the game. I think the finishing ability,
here's my biggest problem.
Kyrie Irving's a better basketball player than Damian Lillard.
Yeah, the problem is he's never on the floor. That's the problem. Why did Brooklyn not go to the NBA Finals this year?
Because he wasn't on the floor.
Because he got hurt and Kevin Durant had to carry the ball club. So that's why I say.
And that's why Kevin's not the best player in the world, because he can't carry his team like Giannis did.
Oh, what a loser!
Yes, he is the best player in the world.
Don't be rude.
Steph Curry or Damian Lillard?
Steph.
I'm trying to think of other Trey Young or Damian Lillard.
I think you still have to take Dame because neither of them have won anything.
Jimmy Butler or Damian Lillard?
Wow.
Oh!
Jimmy's won.
Come on, man.
But they're two different. They play
Jimmy's
two different
won
position.
What?
He's won a championship.
He has?
Yeah, I believe so.
With who?
With the Heat.
When?
Didn't he win a championship?
No.
2 years ago?
No, the fucking Lakers. What is wrong with you?
No, not the Lakers series. Not the Lakers
he
series.
Did?
No, the year before that.
Okay, now
maybe I'm wrong.
Jimmy Butler did not win a championship, did he?
Yes, I'm pretty sure the Miami Heat won the championship a couple years ago.
Was he on that team?
Yes. Dude, Jimmy Butler's been in Miami Heat for a long time.
Okay. No, he's not an NBA champion. Man, shut up. He's won a gold medal. Does that matter? No, he went to the finals with the Heat when they played the Lakers. He hasn't won a championship. He was on the team the last 3 years. He was Philly, Minnesota, and then the Bulls before that. That disaster. But he's a 5-time All-Star, most improved player. He's not an NBA champion, though.
Yeah. He's a more complete player than Dame is. He can do more for you.
I would take Jimmy Butler over Damian Lillard. I think. Now, I know,
don't know, dude.
You don't know what?
I mean, Jimmy's done more. There's no doubt. You can't argue the fact that Jimmy's been to the NBA Finals. He's played a lot of meaningful basketball. He's done a lot of things, but
I'm just telling you that Damian Lillard, and look, I get it. Damian Lillard scores a hell of a lot of points. What is it, 34 points a game or whatever?
Yeah.
And he in the postseason.
Dame's probably the best of the guys who've never won. That's probably where he's at right now.
Bradley Beal or Damian Lillard?
Probably got to take Bradley Beal.
Luka Doncic or Damian Lillard?
Damian Lillard all day. Not even close. I really don't even think that that's a conversation.
Jason Tatum or Damian Lillard?
I think you still got to take Dame. Yeah.
Wow. Donovan Mitchell or Damian Lillard?
See, and this is one where I say Don's got a real chance and here's why. Think about what we saw out of Donovan Mitchell. And I understand that a lot of it was hero ball, but he's consistently knocking down deep threes now. The deep 3-point range of Donovan Mitchell is becoming a thing.
Paul George or Damian Lillard?
Paul George. Yeah, Paul George.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, you got to go Paul George. He can do more for you.
Yeah. Christian Wood or Damian Lillard? Kidding. It was a joke.
Douche canoes.
CJ McCallum or Damian Lillard?
Damn.
I think that's closer than you think.
Well, it's not closer for me, but
I think Damian Lillard's an incredible scorer. I just don't know that Dame is an incredible teammate. That's what I need to know.
I think that you're vastly underestimating him in that sense. I think, yes, he hasn't handled this the best, but the guy's been there for how long?
Yeah.
And been a great guy.
Okay. I think Damian Lillard's not top 10. And I'm taking Donovan Mitchell over Damian Lillard.
Okay, fair enough.
Every game. Luka's mom or Stacy's mom? Luka's mom. Emmanuel says if the Jazz and Lakers go against each other, who do you get? LeBron is getting old. Well, I'm taking the Lakers. The Lakers are
this whole Lakers old thing is just tired and it's dumb. Like
again. I mean, they can beat you any way you want to get beaten. You want to get beaten in the post, they can beat you there. You want to get beat outside shooting, now they've got elite shooting. I think the Jazz are a very much improved team. I think they've had the best offseason of anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I think I look at Eric Paschall and Rudy Gay and Jared Butler. I mean, you got a mid-first round talent at the 40th pick.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we talking about?
Pretty good, dude.
Justin Zanuck's crushed the offseason. It's one of those things. Macon Convo says YouTube needs a vanishing mode. Okay.
Vanish mode.
Tanner Plummer says Damian Lillard or Devin Booker. Damian Lillard. Well, because those are two guys that heavily rely on their shot.
And Dame hits him more, you're right.
And Dame is a lethal 3-point shooter. We'll see what Book does now. I heard some people saying he's going to take 4 weeks off and travel the world. That's probably what I would do. I would go pound Kardashian box, and I would go travel the world. Right? I mean, when you're dating
so you can go to Pound Town.
Yeah, when you're dating a Kardashian, you got to get that while you can, because we all know it ain't going to last forever.
Kitty cat juices is not all over the place.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude.
Yep. This is a tough discussion. I think,
it's really tough.
To answer the question directly, I think Donovan Mitchell is close to top 10. I don't think he's top 10 yet. I think him, Booker, Dame, Trey Young,
Tatum,
Jason Tatum, those guys are on the cusp.
Yeah.
And I think if none of those guys are in the top 10 in the next 2 years, they'll never be.
Yeah.
And that's what I say about my guy D Book. Book's got to have a massive season this coming season. He's got to rest and build his body this offseason. He's got to figure out how to make a 3-point jumper at a 38 to 40% clip. And if he does that, forget it. It's over. He could be top 7 in my opinion.
I think he's got to do what Bradley Beal has been doing over the last couple of seasons. You know, Bradley Beal has really kind of emerged as like this killer offensively.
He's exploded as an offensive guy. Like now, Brad Beal, and it's Brad.
Brad, my bad. It's not Bradley.
Yeah, Brad wants to be called Bradley, or Bradley wants to be called Brad, not Bradley. And you see, anyway, Double B, Brad Beal. I think he's really exploded offensively, and I think Devin Booker's got to take another big step forward. Oddly enough, Devin Booker, everybody always talks about how he's not a good defender. I think he was the best defender on Team USA in the Olympics. He showed that.
He was playing well, no doubt.
Yeah, he was matched up against the other team's best player. I think we saw in the NBA playoffs that he was a really good defender. And the thing that's gotten better is his anticipation and his understanding. As a maturing player, everybody goes through this. Your understanding of what the other team's trying to do to you and how you can best defend that. That, to me, is where he's gotten better. But Devin Booker's regressed on his three-point shot. It is not going in the hole consistently. He's turned into a guy that's getting to the basket whenever he wants now. But he's got to shoot that three on a regular basis, or he's just not the dynamic player that they need.
You have to have it.
Yeah.
You have to.
In this day and age, you have to have it. I don't think there's any doubt. Emmanuel says Lakers are going to need a lot of load management this year. Everybody's going to load manage this year.
A lot, yeah.
Anybody that played in the Olympics, Kevin Durant's going to load manage this year. Tatum, Dame's got this abdominal injury now.
All of them.
I'm telling you, it was a mistake for most of these guys to go to the Olympics. And that's why I said I have no problem with like Steph Curry not going to the Olympics. No problem.
Yeah, I mean, the Olympic guys, won't pay the price until about halfway through the NBA season when they run out of gas.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. James Knight says, do you think Utah is a much better place to go small now Rudy Gay can play the 5? Okay, we need to stop with this Rudy Gay can play the 5 thing. Rudy Gay is a 3-4, and he's really what they call a stretch 3-4. He can play in small sets. He can play the 5. But if you're against any of the premier power forwards or bigs, Rudy Gay's not the guy you want at the 5.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why Hassan Whiteside's here.
Yeah.
If you want to go mobile and you want to go a little smaller, you go with Hassan Whiteside.
The question we should be asking is, can they play big? That's the question. Can they play Hassan and Rudy at the same time with Rudy Gay at the 3? That's the question we need to be asking, because there's opportunity there for sure.
I don't know why people get so upset about our Rudy Gay or our Rudy Gobert conversation yesterday. Like, you'd have thought we lit the world on fire or something.
Are there comments about it?
Oh, my God. The YouTube comments yesterday were just ridiculous about, one guy got blocked by YouTube after he called us an a-hole, and
I will downsize your face with a shovel.
pretty much. Like it is, and I'll just read a couple of these. There's a lot of cursing. Spida Cheetah says, I think Gobert is the 3rd best center in the NBA. Jokic and Embiid are ahead of him because of their offense. Defensively, he's better. Whoa, whoa, whoa. When Gobert is in the game, they wanted to give him the ball on France. Like, this is something that was a huge point of contention. I said on the show yesterday that France lost, in my opinion, because they featured Rudy Gobert. And this is what I'll say about the Jazz. And I know this has been a huge conversation that, the Jazz have to feed Rudy Gobert the ball. When Donovan Mitchell was hurt and Mike Conley was hurt, you got to feed Rudy Gobert the basketball. When you're at full strength, what is the upside of giving Rudy Gobert the ball with his back to the basket?
The only upside potentially would be getting the other team in foul trouble. Maybe. Yeah. That's like the only.
Did you hear my back pop right there?
Yeah, well, that was weird.
That was my back popping right there. I'm old, man. What's the upside? Like, I was listening to The Zone yesterday here in Salt Lake City, and they were talking about how Rudy Gobert proved that he has grown his offensive game and he can now dribble the ball. And it's like, did we watch the same Olympic tournament? Because I saw Rudy Gobert with his back to the basket, hooking and holding Kevin Durant. There was a video of him grabbing Kevin Durant's short and jersey at his hip and holding them so he could catch the ball. You're not going to get away with that in the NBA. They're going to call that. Anybody that watched the Olympic tournament and thinks that Rudy Gobert all of a sudden has grown an offensive game and he can play with his back to the basket, there's two things I'd point out to you. France lost, and they played slow, plodding, methodical basketball trying to get him the ball.
Yeah.
And they lost because of that. Why did they lose to the Americans? Because they didn't shoot the three well. Okay. Then Rudy Gobert gets fouled. Oh, but that was their plan, to get guys in foul trouble. How did that work out for you at the end?
You lost.
Nobody fouled out of that game for the U.S. Nobody. Rudy fouled out. Nobody on the U.S. side fouled out. Not certainly because of Rudy Gobert. And by the way, it was a win for the U.S. And why is that? Because he only made half his free throws.
And they weren't shooting threes, which is how they win games.
So, again, I'm just going to say, what is the formula? Ask yourself this question. When the Utah Jazz were at their best last season, because we don't know what they're going to be this season. When the Utah Jazz were at their best last season, what were they doing? Well, in the second half, it was usually, Bojan Bogdanovic shooting threes, scoring 48 points, running the floor, getting in the basket, shooting threes. Oh, my God, they made 964 threes in that quarter.
Mm-hmm.
What part of that gets better if Rudy Gobert is with his back to the basket or you're featuring Rudy Gobert? What part of that gets better? What part of your game do you play faster, which is when the Jazz last year were really good, when they were playing fast and shooting threes? What part of that gets enhanced by feeding Rudy Gobert the ball in the post? There's not a part of it that gets better. So this idea that all of a sudden after a month in training camp with France, all of a sudden he's got this game where he can dribble, and he never showed in the Olympics that he can put the ball on the floor and score.
And by the way, the best big talent's not in the Olympics. Just want to point that out too. Like, as awesome as Kevin Durant is, Gobert outweighs him by a ton.
And the other thing that you have to remember is that Rudy Gobert's highest best use is as a pick and roll guy, and you lob him the basketball, which teams are now taking away from him. So, anyway, my point, I get it. 1280 The Zone is the flagship station in the Utah Jazz. I totally understand it. Please do not drink the Kool-Aid that Rudy Gobert all of a sudden has turned into an elite offensive center, because he's not. He is not Giannis. He is not Joel Embiid. He is not Nikola Jokic. He struggles to guard Jokic. We saw that in that Denver game where Bogey scored 48. Jokic was open, and this was the inexplicable thing. Jokic was open most of the night. He just chose not to shoot until the fourth quarter. I don't understand it either. But let's not get into this thing where we believe all of a sudden that Rudy Gobert has evolved into some amazing player. And I'll read a few more comments. With the potential emergence of Azubuike.
Okay, stop right there.
Jordan, and this is Jordan McDonald.
Let's just stop right there. Everybody is saying Azubuike's having a great summer league. Great. That's awesome. That's good news. That doesn't mean he's going to be some amazing guy in the regular season. We got to see that. Can
we please not overreact to summer league? I think this is really, really important. Name me the guy who blew up the summer league and then turned into a superstar. It doesn't happen very often. And with Azubuike, the thing that everybody the other night, and the Jazz, their job is to tweet out unbelievable things about their players. Everybody retweeted the video of Azubuike dunking on somebody on the blue team, I think it was. And people are like, oh my God, all-star, sign him to a 5-year max. And it's like, hey man, do you understand where Azubuike is in this organization? He is going to be your third center. I think there's no question he's on the roster. He's going to be your third center, 7 to 10 minutes on a good night. That's it. You just paid Hassan Whiteside, and you're paying Rudy Gobert. So explain to me how Azubuike plays a significant role in where the potential emergence is.
Injuries, that's the only way he'll see significant time.
There is no potential emergence.
Yeah.
Right? But Jordan McDonald says, with the potential emergence of Azubuike, do you think trading Gobert becomes more of a possibility after the upcoming season?
Yeah, I just don't think there's an emergence yet. I mean, I think we're just too early on. I mean, again, this is the first game action this guy's seen in 8 months, 9 months, after the injury recovery.
Well,
So-
he full-time game action because he did play for the Jazz at the end of the season.
Yeah, but okay, full-time game action. This is like he's actually playing like significant minutes now,
You have to figure out, and at some point you're going to have to swallow the pill, that you're paying Rudy Gobert $41 million a year to not play 35 minutes a night. You're just going to have to come to grips with that.
I don't think people realize how much Hassan Whiteside's going to play for this team.
Well, if you're going to win a championship, and again, this was another argument we had on YouTube the other day. Why is everything about winning a championship? Because what the fuck else do you play the game for?
What are we here for?
Excuse my French. I've been cursing a lot
Yes,
lately.
you have.
I need to stop doing that. Yeah. Anyway, I don't mean to curse so much. It just happens. Why else do you play this game? Do you play this game to finish second? Do you play this game just kind of show up and hope for the best? I don't. I don't think Donovan Mitchell does.
The Lakers don't.
You play this game to win championships. That's it. Right? And if you want to win a championship, Rudy Gobert can't play 35 minutes. And I will maintain the same thing I've said 10 times, and I said it yesterday. And again, Barry Schmaltedextrin guy lit me up.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Lit up yesterday and was like, you don't know basketball.
Do you even watch Jazz games?
When I said that Rudy Gobert is not a winning player and the Jazz will not win a championship with him, he does not consistently win at the highest level. Oh, but look, he carried it. Listen to me. Rudy Gobert never carried France. He's never carried the Jazz, not a single minute of his NBA career. Mm-hmm. Has Rudy Gobert been the reason that the Jazz are an elite team?
He's been the reason they've lost.
Rudy Gobert is a really, really good defensive player. I mean, he is arguably the best defensive player, the best defensive big man, no doubt, in the NBA.
Yeah.
Arguably the best defensive player in the NBA. Hard stop. That's it. Rudy Gobert is not a guy that you can feature offensively. He is got a 18-foot wingspan, good offensive rebounder that can dunk on anybody. All right, cool. But what do you learn in Team USA's win over France? If you attack Rudy Gobert's chest, what's going to happen? He's going to get dunked on. You can go at Rudy Gobert defensively. I want it to stop that Rudy Gobert is an integral part. I'm just telling you, in 5 years, is Rudy Gobert still a Utah Jazz man?
No way.
3 years. Probably not.
Yeah. It's this year, next year,
Probably
then
not.
that third year, I think he's probably traded.
And he better, if he's going to be on this team, he better take a leap forward offensively.
Yeah, and I think that's a really interesting conversation. Like, now that you're getting paid, what's the development? Because you have to be more than a defensive player to be getting paid $41 a year,
But he won't be. He won't. I until he shows me, and not that I'm anybody that he's got to prove something to. Until he shows me that he can be, something more than a 14-point-a-game guy that just cleans up after missed 3-pointers. You want to be something, average 20 points and 15 boards a season. Multiple seasons. And start with this season. Because right now, you're a guy that averages 12 points and 11 rebounds for $41 million.
Is that really what it is?
Yeah.
12 and 11?
His career is 12
That's
points.
just not good enough, dude.
11 rebounds and 2.2 blocks a game.
It's not. What did he average last year?
He averaged 20. Let me look. Let's have a look, MFers. 14.3 points, 13.5 rebounds, 1.3 dimes.
So it's marginal.
He's an average offensive player.
For your career, you're 12 and 11, and last year, which was arguably your best year as a player, you're 14 and 13. I mean, what more do we need to talk about here? I mean, everyone wants to say, "Oh my God, his contribution is outside the stat sheet." Well, I got news for you. If his contribution is outside of the stat sheet, why are teams using him as a weakness to break the Jazz's defense? Like, that's what I'm trying to understand. And I don't think that, everyone's going to say that we hate Rudy Gobert and this is the show about just, ripping Rudy Gobert. But at the end of the day, The problem is you're never going to get away from the fact that Rudy Gobert is the single biggest weakness on this team. You're playing 4-on-5 on offense, and you're also playing 4-on-5 on defense because he cannot. And whether you're talking about him or any other big, the fact is NBA offenses are going to scheme against him. So he can't guard the paint and guard Terrence Mann in the corner who made 7 straight threes to send the Jazz home. So what are you going to do about it? Oh, I know. You shouldn't have signed him, which we can't fix, but you shouldn't have signed him, and you should have, made some other decisions.
And he's not a bad player. He's not a bad player. He's just a Rudy Gobert is an average player.
He's the Hall of Very Good, dude. He will get you to the postseason. He will not win you a championship. That's not happening. It's not happening.
Ryan Hatch says, you guys are morons. Your criticism of Rudy Gobert are not only short-sighted, but extremely ignorant and biased.
What have we been wrong on?
Rudy makes the Jazz offense more dynamic with his screen setting, dropping to the basket and rebounding. He was not exposed in any way at all in the playoffs. The Jazz overall defense was. Hassan Whiteside is not on big money. He literally is a vet minimum. This is some of the worst analysis of pro sports, and you guys should think before you speak. Honestly, it's pitiful.
Cool, dude.
France actually won the minutes Gobert was on the floor. They lost because they kept him out of the game, says FM Vids. I said to that, they had to take him out because he was missing free throws and they were not running their offense. He said, and that's what they lost, why they lost. Okay, so what is it? Like,
hold on, wait. Screw the France game. I don't even give a damn about that now. Let's address the comment of Rudy makes their offense better. What exactly does Rudy Gobert do outside of setting screens that makes their offense better?
When you shoot the three, and we've said this 100 times, and I don't know why we're talking about Rudy again.
I don't know. It got brought up. I don't know how it always gets brought up. But
my point is, on Rudy Gobert, when you shoot the three as much as the Jazz shoot the three, you value offensive rebounding, and you value pick and roll. I totally get that. But at some point, those threes are not going to go in, and presumably Rudy's value should go up. And it doesn't. The reason that the Jazz lose in the postseason is because the game's completely different. Teams get much more aggressive at the three-point line. And now you have guys who can address that. Is Rudy Gay a more dynamic defender? I don't know. Father Time's undefeated. Let's see what he does. He certainly shoots a three well. He can play multiple positions. I like that. He's not. Is he necessarily an upgrade to Bojan Bogdanovic?
I would say defensively he is.
I don't know. I don't know that. And look, Rudy Gay has been I think he's a great signing.
Rudy Gay is by far more athletic than Bojan is, like without a doubt.
Yeah, but you also have to remember that this is a guy who over the last 2 years has played 20 minutes a night.
Yeah, which is what they need from him.
And he's also a guy that scores 10, 11 points a game. Mm-hmm. So on a championship contending team,
he's their Torrey Craig. That's who he is. That's who he is. He needs to come off the bench. He needs to put in 10, 12, on a good night, maybe 15, and play good defense. That's what he is. That's what his role on this team is going to be.
Hey, and I think there's a lot of value in that. But I don't think that the one thing that really stands out to me is that I just don't think that you should believe that Rudy Gay is going to come in here and be a huge part of your offense. I think Rudy Gay is going to be a guy that will make 35% of his threes because that's what he's done over his career. He shot 38% last year, but that was only 4 threes a game. And I think that he's somebody that is going to give you really valuable gap minutes. And I just my point is, I don't think he is, I don't think he is somebody that you can say, hey, Rudy Gay is the reason we're going to win a championship. He's not what Andre Iguodala was to the Warriors, who everybody was comparing. Mm-hmm. But he has the potential to be that. He's 34 years old. That's something to consider because now you have an older point guard and an older bench player. And I think that he fits in really well here. And I think he's a big upgrade to what you had coming off the bench last year. Mm. It makes Jordan Clarkson far less important. And I think Jordan Clarkson was a really important player last year. It makes him far less important. So is what it is. Let's talk BYU football briefly because we're 46 days away from kickoff, I think. Mm-hmm. And BYU is not named a quarterback yet. And what's interesting to me is that there's a lot of people who want to see, Jacob Conover. They want to see Baylor Romney. My guess is that the BYU quarterback battle's over. And I would have to believe that Jaren Hall is going to be your starting quarterback in Provo. And I think, and I know we talked about this on Twitter last week when they opened camp and I said this, and I know people got frustrated. There's no quarterback battle. When you have arguably the most difficult schedule in the history of BYU football, you don't go into camp with a quarterback battle. That battle was won in the spring. And I know that, Baylor Romney's a fan favorite. Jacob Conover's a guy that was highly recruited, and people really, really, really have high hopes.
Mm-hmm.
Jaren Hall's been here. He's in the program. He knows the game plan. He knows the offense. He's got the skill set. He's got the athletic ability. In my opinion, I think it's over. I think Jaren Hall's a starting quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that he by far gives them the best chance to win games. And again, just like we just said with the Jazz 5 minutes ago, why are you out there playing games? You're playing to win the game. I mean, that's the whole deal. So, yeah, you take the schedule into consideration, and you take into consideration that this is one of the biggest seasons that BYU, has before them in quite some time. I mean, the fact is because of what you did with Zach Wilson last year, now you're in a position where, especially, and again, we don't need to go into conference realignment and the whole SEC stuff and all that, but with that in mind and with a potential move on the horizon, it's really important that you don't look like crap this year. So the idea that, people think that there's a quarterback battle going on, yeah, that may be going on in the press. That might be like an like a PR headline. But at the end of the day, there's not a quarterback battle. That Hall is the guy that best puts them in a position to win games.
And I know that Conover's a guy that everybody's excited about because, look, he's an Alabama recruit. He's got everything you want.
The 4-star guy. He's a good recruit.
But I'm telling you, Jaren Hall's what you want on this team. And I look at the way that BYU football is coming out of last year. This is a huge season.
Huge.
What do you need? Do you have a number in your head? Do you think BYU needs to win?
I mean, without going down the schedule and going down that whole thing, I feel like 8's the number. I feel like if you can win 8 games, it's stiff. It's really stiff. It's up there for sure. With the schedule, that's definitely up there. There's no question about that. But I don't think. But the reason I say 8 is because I don't think it's good enough just to sneak into a bowl game. I don't think it's good enough just to become bowl eligible. Like you have to be in a position where you're like, all right, we didn't win 10, right? We didn't win 11, but we won 8 games. We had a solid season. We had, by our standards, after because here's the thing, you want the narrative after this coming season is over to be, hey, BYU loses Zach Wilson, but because their recruiting is so good, they're still at an 8-game level. They're still at, let's say for somehow, some way with this schedule, they were able to win 9 games. That's a hell of a season when you've just lost the generational talent in Zach Wilson. That's a hell of a job. So that's why I say, if we're being realistic, schedule, losing talent, all these different things in mind, to me, 8 games is the number. That's what I feel like is realistic.
There's a reason that BYU schedules like this. By the way, somebody asked about the Big 12 Pac-12 merger.
Mm-hmm.
The answer is I have no idea. I think that if you're BYU and there's a Big 12 Pac-12 merger, you're probably still on the outside looking in. If you have, 8 teams left, that's 20 teams. You're not likely to add a 21st team.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be some conflict there. And yes, I think BYU if they have any opportunity to get into a P5, you got to do it. You absolutely have to do it. And I think it's one of those things that it's always going to be talked about, man.
Yep.
Always going to be talked about.
It's always a talking piece.
Which I think is interesting. A lot of people in on this BYU thing. Jeremy Bolton says, love talking college football. Yes.
Yeah, it's nice to be talking football again,
Yeah, absolutely. Man, Okay,
Comment dumb.
there was a comment there.
And no, this is not vanish mode.
Jeremy Bolton says Conover is the future at BYU. Dude throws a nice ball. Absolutely. You'd think with the new redshirt rule, they give him some experience this year. I think if I'm BYU, you don't have a chance to give him experience. All right. I don't think if you're BYU, you cannot take risks. You cannot hope. I think there's a reason that Jaren Hall's getting all the number one work. I think there's a reason that, and I still think Mitch Harper's the best BYU insider in the business. And I would tell you, if you're a BYU fan and you don't follow Mitch Harper on Twitter and Instagram, you're foolish. I think when you look at what he's been seeing and what this team's been putting on paper and on film, I don't think there's any doubt that Jaren's getting the job. I agree with you, Jeremy. I think Conover is the future. There's no doubt. Well, you hope he's the future. They've got, 39 quarterbacks on the roster? Like, they have a ton of dudes that can throw the football. So it'll be interesting to see, exactly how that all works out. But I think when you look at the way that BYU has traditionally done things under Kalani Sitake, quarterback's not going to see much physical action, if any. You're not going to hit your quarterback. And they're really going to be dialed in. Midway through camp, they're already going to be schematically planning for Arizona.
Yeah.
That's it. They're not going to risk even a little bit with the quarterback. Jaren Hall's your number one, and everybody else is playing for behind him. Because you need 3 quarterbacks on a college football roster that can play.
Yeah.
And I think they know they have that. And I think, unfortunately, Romney's the odd duck here. Because, again, I agree that Conover's probably going to be, the future of this program. And I think coming out of a Zach Wilson era that, didn't start so great but ended extremely well, the number 2 overall pick in the draft. He's playing for the New York Jets. But
the hype all year that you had, all the things that you were able to do because you had Zach Wilson and, the infamous headband and all these different things. Again, BYU was, listen, man, I remember we were talking about BYU when we were still doing the show in Phoenix, man. This was a team that was, just lighting the world on fire with how good they were at times. So that's why I say it's unacceptable to be a 4-win team this year. That's not going to work.
And by the way, this is the problem you want to have.
Yeah.
This is a problem that BYU's not had for many years, where you've got 4 guys who legitimately could start a quarterback for you. And really, you have 3 guys that are quote-unquote contending. I think you have 3 guys who could be your number 1 quarterback. That's a great problem to have.
Yep.
You're going to have some transfers. You're going to have some dropouts. That's a normal part of football. But when you're in the game and you play the game the way BYU does with return missionaries and, transfers, whether that's Utah or anywhere else, you look at the depth that this team has at wide receiver right now. We haven't seen this kind of depth and quality at wide receiver at BYU in a very long time. Even last year, I think this year's BYU receiver class is stronger than last year's. And it's going to be hard to replicate what they've done. But this year's wide receiver group has a real chance to be special. And I think anytime Kalani Sitake is your head football coach, your defense is going to be very good. Mm-hmm. You're going to get very good play in the trenches. I think BYU, everybody's expecting BYU to fall off. I'm not. And I know this is a difficult schedule. I agree with you. I think 8's the bar. And if you win 8 games and you go to a significant bowl, and when I say significant, I'm not saying a New Year's Six or playoff or whatever. But let's not go to the
the Vanish Mode Bowl.
Yeah, let's not go to the Carpet Fiber Bowl, right? let's not go to the Bowl Movement Bowl. To me, write your bowl ticket regionally, playing a significant game where your fans can travel, with the exception of COVID. You don't want COVID traveling to your games. And that's a win for BYU.
Yeah.
Play well this year so that you get yourself in a major conference. To me, that's a win for BYU. So, and there's a lot of BYU football comments, and I can't get to all of them. Casey said, do you have to prove 2020 wasn't a fluke? Yes, in my opinion, they got better with the transfers they got from P5 schools, and the guys are bringing back now will have to prove themselves again. Yeah, you're proving yourself every week in this game.
Yeah.
So I just think it is what it is. Kelsey Hamer. Nice to meet you. I don't think you've ever been here before. He says, let's be honest. The Jazz need to pull a superstar not named Donovan who has offensive prowess. They need a KD, LeBron, or Dame, and they have not gotten it.
Welcome to the fucking show.
I mean, yeah, welcome to the show. Thankfully, somebody else saying what we've been saying for a long time. Red Heart Norris says, let's set this straight. Rudy is the greatest stopper as he can stop anyone. Heck, he stopped the whole league for crying out loud, but his offense was left in France and never made it to the NBA. Yeah,
Agreed.
I mean,
Agreed.
You know,
He's a hell of a defender. There's no doubt.
He didn't want to pay the freight on that post-up game.
Yeah, man.
Kelsey also says, whoa, massive comment dump. Sorry about that. He said Stephen A. killed it in saying that the secret formula to beating the Jazz is more star power to counter their continuity. Well, I think the Clippers showed you that until Kawhi got hurt, and then they whooped that ass anyway.
Yeah.
I think, what's interesting is Reggie Jackson went back to the Clippers. I thought he played a really key role in beating the Jazz because he played from three and he played short, the pull-up game, he got to the basket.
Anything you wanted.
The Jazz, the one thing that worries me a little bit is I don't think the Jazz have addressed their athletic ability issue. Now, Pascal absolutely does that. Does Rudy Gay do that?
Better, but not to the level you'd like.
Does Hassan Whiteside do that? He does. Derek Favors was a real problem on this roster last year in the playoffs. But I don't know. I mean, part of me thinks that Hassan Whiteside is Rudy Gobert offensively 2.0.
Yes.
It's not like he's going to bring you some new dynamic offense with his, because he's not. He's got a nice little touch around the rim, and he can give you a little jumper. But I mean, he is. But again, this is not a team that plays inside out. This is a team that shoots a three.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I look at Hassan as the guy that you can run with. A guy that you can play fast with. So to me, like, if I'm Quinn, I'm like, all right, this is looking awesome. I'm going to bring in Jordan Clarkson. I'm going to bring in Hassan Whiteside, and we're going to pick up the pace, and we're going to change the narrative of this game whenever we want to. And that would, that's how they should be used.
James Knight says the Bulls had a 7-2 Australian. Primary role was to set screens, but the Jazz don't have MJ. Okay. Luke Longley was a nice little player. That was in the 90s, man. Like, and this is something else that you have to grasp this. You can't compare across eras. The Jazz' biggest problem right now is they often become Don and everybody else. Right? Mike Conley's hurt. Well, now you paid him. Let's see if he stays healthy. You have a guy in Rudy Gay that's 34 years old. What can he give you? Can he shoot 38% again? I hope so. That'd be great. Can he give you 25 minutes a night? I don't think so. Is Hassan Whiteside anything more than a 12 to 15 minute a night guy? I hope so. Is Rudy Gobert going to play with his back to the basket? I doubt it, but I hope so.
Yeah.
So in other words, you're still the same thing you were.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that really worries me a little bit is that I think Eric Pascal's got to play a significant role on this team because he's young, he's a bull, he's athletic. Don loves him. They're childhood friends. You want this guy to develop into something more than he was in Golden State.
Yeah.
And the other question is, who's going to be the odd man out of the trade deadline? Because your heart's going to get broken and people are going to be upset.
You know who it is.
I'm telling you, with all due respect, James Knight, Joe Ingles is the odd guy out. And just because they didn't trade him now, and frankly, the conversation, are the Jazz done? I don't know. I think the Jazz are going to go to training camp largely with what they have now. Why wouldn't you? And I think Trent Forrest, I still say, Trent Forrest is a really important player to be watching in Summer League because you need to see some development from three. That three-point shot was ugly last year.
Ugly.
You know what? You'd like to see one of these guys or two of these guys on this spring, summer NBA roster emerge. Elijah Hughes, it'd be nice. It'd be nice if Trent Forrest could play significant minutes. But now you've backstopped that a little bit. The scary thing to me about the Jazz right now is Jared Butler's a really important figure on this team.
Yes, he is.
That's a little scary.
They need the depth.
They need it. Right? I mean, that's a little scary to me.
Because Mike Conley's going to, again, I'm not trying to hate. Mike Conley's going to get hurt. I'm not going to sit here and say without a doubt that Don will get hurt because I don't think Don's been that player. I think for the most part, he's been pretty straight up, pretty steady, But at the end of the day, I'm not sitting here saying that the young guys they just drafted are what's going to decide if they win the Western Conference Finals. But what I am saying is that when Mike Conley's hurt, I want a better option than Point Jingles.
Yeah.
I need something that's a little more productive than that.
Tanner Plummer says BYU is playing against 7 P5s this year. Historically, they only win 40% of their P5 games. Well, if they do historically what they've always done, we should just not do a BYU football content on the show ever because it'll be irrelevant. Last year was the first year that this team was nationally relevant.
And that's
in
what
a
I'm saying.
very long time.
You can't come out and be nothing this year. You can't come out and, like, it really hurts. The conversation that matters is getting into a P5 conference.
That's it.
All that matters to this damn program. So this year, coming off of, 11 wins last year, I believe it was, you can't be a 5-win team. That can't happen.
Well, the truth is you wasted the wins over Texas. You wasted you kind of hit a wall when, you went to Texas and Taysom jumped over, the burnt orange and everybody was everybody.
Those were great times.
And it was all for naught because you never really moved off of that. And then thankfully Kalani's come in and Tom Homo is one of the best athletic directors in the country and has been patient because let's not forget the days where people were talking about firing Kalani. I mean, there were a lot of people talking about that, and I was not one of them, mind you. I think you have to be patient, and I think that Kalani Sitake is a guy that you have to believe in. And I believe in him, and I'm patient with him, and I think it's really paid off. And, this is what I say about Kyle Whittingham. The biggest mistake that I think I've ever made is saying that, maybe it's time to replace Kyle Whittingham. I was wrong. And this team the Utah Utes are in a great spot again.
I want to talk about a team that needs to get into the playoff. That's a team that
they're ready now. They need to. And the hard part is you've spent a lot of money on infrastructure at Utah now, right? You need to take a big step forward. Kyle's got some pressure. The days of Dr. Hill are gone, right? Like up on the hill, Kyle's got a lot of pressure. This league has a lot of pressure to be relevant. And I think when you look at where, the state of football in this state is thirsty to be nationally relevant. And I think you really are in a position where ASU is in a lot of trouble football-wise right now. They're remarkably talented and should be talking about winning the conference and playing in the national championship, and they're instead embroiled in a scandal. And they've got 3 coaches that are on leave. So, like, the South is incredibly vulnerable. Mm-hmm. The Arizona schools are incredibly vulnerable. USC is going to be USC, and they're going to USC all over that ass until somebody stops them. They're going to be very good this year.
Yep.
The teams in the North are very vulnerable. I think if Utah wants to take a step forward, continue to recruit, and I think you got to win big. You in the next this year, I would love to see this team win the whole effing thing this year. I don't know that I don't think that's gonna happen.
Man, what a year we got on tap, man.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
What a year we've got.
I'm excited about it. Stop talking Ute football. Okay, well then maybe you're on the wrong show. Because we talk all football on this show. We're not just gonna be BYU. My God, no, that's not what we do here. We talk about. I was talking to a BYU friend of mine, and he referred to Utah as the heathens up north.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, guess what? We're going to talk about the heathens up north because Utah football is incredibly relevant.
God bless.
Incredibly important, right? Yeah, so is BYU football. Casey, I've got to believe that BYU will never beat Utah again. Ever. It's never going to happen. They're going to lose every year. They're going to lose by 21 points every year. Max Hall's mom is going to get beer poured on her. It is what it is. Generations of families named Romney are going to struggle. BYU's going to win. BYU's going to win. They ain't going to be this year, I don't think.
That's out of the window.
Has there ever been a rivalry? This is Michigan. This is Michigan, Ohio State.
Yeah, dude, it's hot. Hot.
Michigan's got to win.
It is hot.
BYU desperately needs to win the rivalry game.
Cold-blooded, clean, methodical, and thorough.
Because I got news for you. Utah doesn't have a lot of reason to play this game. That's the truth. You know what gives them reason to play this game? If BYU actually wins a game. What have they won, like 36 straight games, I think?
Pack everything up. We're out of here.
Right? I mean, and granted, were a lot of the reasons they didn't want to play the game because fans are idiots. But I don't think there's a lot of
right now. There's not
impetus for Utah to continue to play this game. It's a very dangerous game for Utah because the longer that BYU is independent, the more it hurts Utah. Now, should they be in the same conference somehow?
Twice a year, every year.
That'd be okay with me. You know. Oh, come on. BYU beat Utah like 14 out of 15 years. And now you could have said the same thing in the 80s and 90s. Well, sadly, Jeremy.
Bro, that's the 80s and 90s.
Sadly, MTV doesn't play music videos anymore, and BYU does not beat Utah anymore.
Water's wet.
And until they do, Mike Conley's hurt in the playoffs. Until they do. Yeah, we're going to have to change the water's wet formula. Okay, water's wet, Chris Paul's hurt in the playoffs. Okay. Water's wet, Mike Conley's hurt in the playoffs. Okay. Water's wet, BYU can't beat Utah. Even though, by the way, the size of Kalani Sitake's testicles to go for it on the goal line there a couple years ago, at BYU, that's probably an honor code violation to think.
Can you measure it?
Yeah, my point is Kalani's courage to go for it.
Wow, that's a great tagline.
What?
Kalani's courage.
Yeah.
Really well done.
No, I'm going to stop. Yeah. Let's talk about N-bombs versus dingers.
Dude.
And then we got to talk about my wife being out of town and stuff. Okay. Where do you want to start with
Rockies.
this?
Let's go with the Rockies game first.
Okay. Tanner, shut up. Anyway.
Okay, what did he say? Now I got to know what the guy said. What did he say?
Kalani's overrated.
You can leave, or you can stay and shut up and act like an adult.
They haven't even played a game yet. They're coming out of their best season, arguably in BYU history. And now you throw out the Kalani's overrated.
Quiet.
Go Eagles. No. Tanner, no.
All right.
No.
Okay.
No. Okay.
Okay.
Start with the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah.
So you know that Will Brinson, the outfielder who is African-American, otherwise known as black, was at the plate for the Miami Marlins. You've never heard of them. They're a baseball team. They play in South Florida. And the Miami Marlins were in Colorado playing the Rockies. And a fan behind home plate allegedly yelled the N-bomb twice at Will Brinson. You be the judge. Now, if you are the Colorado Rockies, you're going to say, oh, we did an investigation. He was actually yelling, Dinger. Which is the name of the Rockies mascot, Dinger. Okay, I'm hoping that that's what happened here. I'm hoping that this old angry white man was actually, and they have isolated the video who they think was yelling. He's an old angry white man who clearly is drinking a lot of Schlitz malt liquor because he's got a boiler. Guy could probably piss out his own IPA at this point. Anyway, the point is, listen, he was sitting behind home plate yelling something. So I ask you, was this Dinger or was this an N-bomb? I'm going to divert and say, thankfully it was Dinger. Now, it sounds like the N-word to me. But I just, I want this to be Dinger so badly. Dinger or N-bomb?
N-bomb. All day.
All right.
It's an N-bomb all day, dude.
Well, then shall we talk about ESPN because there ain't no doubt in this one.
Bro.
This is a little troubling.
Wow.
Antoinette Collins, otherwise known as Tony Collins, who is my least favorite ESPN SportsCenter anchor. Antoinette Collins. She's the person on TV who, when she speaks of anybody that's not Latino, She does not roll their name or pronounce their name with an accent. When she's talking about a Latin athlete, she will roll their name and
accentuate it.
It really drives me crazy. She routinely mispronounces names, doesn't get sports acronyms or names right. And while you're on SportsCenter, it's perfectly natural to make an N-bomb mistake like this.
It was the first time Poole traced the Angels since they cut him in May. This two-run singer in the...
What?
I'm sorry. I thought you said Albert... He
cut him in May. This two-run singer.
What?
Okay, wait. I see what had happened was...
Okay, I'm going to turn this up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to turn this up a little bit.
How?
Okay, this is going to be louder. Listen to what she says here. This is insane to me.
Time Poole traced the Angels since they cut him in May. This two-run singer.
What? On SportsCenter? Okay, it's left course field and now it's at SportsCenter. How? Dude, how? How does this happen? Like, and the thing is, we haven't heard anything from ESPN. Nothing.
Well, what are they going to say?
You're fired?
No, you're not going to fire her for this.
You're not going to fire her for dropping a racial slur talking about Albert Pujols.
Cut him in May. This two-run singer.
I don't know what you do.
I know what you do. We'll see you later. Hit the road, Jack. You can't make this mistake. That is unacceptable to me.
Okay.
Unacceptable.
Okay. Look, my brother.
Dude.
First of all, settle down.
Dude.
Settle down.
No.
Take it nice and easy.
Dude.
You cannot tell me that she intentionally...
What am I going to say?
You're such a dick. It doesn't matter what she meant to do. It's only what she did do.
I don't give a baker's fuck.
Okay, so...
She dropped an N-bomb on SportsCenter, dude.
She misspoke. This was not intentional.
Cut him in May. This two-run singer.
She clearly meant to... And I don't know what it is about the word dinger. She clearly meant to say dinger. But here's the problem. She doesn't have a full grasp on that word, on dinger. Like, it's not comfortable for her to ad-lib on baseball. It's by far her weakest sport.
Right.
She does not have a full comfort level.
Man.
And so stuff like this happens.
Cut him in May. This two-run singer in the second inning.
His two-run N-bomb.
Two-run singer.
Bro, do you fire her for this?
Yes.
You don't fire her for this.
We disagree. I think this is unacceptable. It's unacceptable to me. I mean, here's what I have trouble with, okay? So I have trouble with the idea that you were trying to say dinger starts with a D. That pronunciation, to me, is not anything similar to the N-bomb. That is not like that's
I don't
not
know, man.
Two of the same like words. It's not like it's different.
What I think is, I just think she was uncomfortable with it.
That's for sure, and that's fine if she wants to say she was uncomfortable. But we need an apology. We need you have to be accountable.
Okay, but if you're
you're
ESPN or if you're Antoinetta Collins, the problem is if you apologize, you bring more attention to it. I think that there's certainly a meeting that's going to be had, or probably already had.
I don't know, man.
I mean, she is entitled to a mistake. It's really unfortunate that this is the mistake she made. I don't think that Antoinetta Collins is racist.
I don't think
there's a
racist, no.
culture of racism at ESPN. I do not believe there is.
I agree. No,
This was a mistake. And there needs to... I mean, are you even going to discipline her for this? Probably not.
I don't know, man. I think in today's world, it's a very slippery slope. I think that I agree with you. I don't think ESPN is racist. I don't think that she intentionally is dropping N-bombs on SportsCenter. But the fact is the N-bomb is the N-bomb. And at the end of the day, you're a paid professional. You are paid to speak properly.
Correct.
It is the only thing that you do for your job. You don't have to lift things. You don't have to use your body. Nothing.
And I've never misspoken in that, knock on wood. And I've been a professional talk show host for 30 years.
Everybody misspeaks, right?
Yeah, I've gotten a fact wrong, or I've never used a racial slur.
Some days you struggle to spit it out. There are just things that happen. But because it's the N-bomb, that's what I have trouble with. I just don't think, especially after the Rachel Nichols, Maria Taylor, that whole situation. In the bigger picture, I agree with you. I don't think that ESPN has a culture of racism. But what I do think is you're on a very slippery slope.
Oh, absolutely.
You had the Rachel Nichols thing come out, all that drama, you've taken care of that, it got put to bed. Okay, great, fine, you handled it, right? But now you've got an anchor making this mistake, and I just think that ESPN's got to be very careful with that, man. That's a very dangerous game to play.
I agree. Let's see. They're calling me Daniel a racist. What do you mean, Tanner Plummer? Monty, stop it. You've never been wrong. No, that's true. I've never been wrong about anything. And I'm good looking. Hey, look. Block Rush is back. He says, I'm done. I can't with you. Done watching Peter Griffin talk to his dog. Oh, is that a fat joke? That's the first time I've heard that. Dude. Are you really, Block, are you really that salty over what happened yesterday? You said a bunch of stupid stuff. For those of you who missed the show yesterday, Block Rush...
To the fucking show.
Yeah, Block Rush came in here yesterday and said, well, the reason that I'm not getting the vaccine is they give you COVID in the vaccine.
There's
true. No COVID in the vaccine.
True.
None.
Not true.
None. There's not... coronavirus is not in the coronavirus vaccine. So... And then you said, well, that's why they can't give you a cancer vaccine because they give you more cancer. Completely false. That's not how mRNA vaccines work. Never have, never will. Not true.
And by the way, I just want to point out, not that I want Block to leave not that I dislike him or anything, but I don't give a damn if you leave or not, dude. At the end of the day, this show is not the please everybody show. This show is the fact-based, in reality show. We're not doing, hey, we can't cure cancer because they can't make a vaccine because there's cancer in the vaccine. That's what are you talking about, dude? That doesn't make any sense.
And the thing is, in Block, I appreciate that Block Rush is one of our more passionate listeners, and I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Man. But you can't come in here and, this is Marjorie Taylor Greene this morning having her Twitter account suspended. Again. You can't come in and disseminate just completely false stuff about vaccines.
And the funny thing is, what the funny thing is? The fact that you would make a fat joke just says exactly who you are.
Yeah.
It speaks to your character. It speaks to your lack of respect for people. It speaks to who you are as an individual. And I just think that it's with all due respect, bro, it's kind of embarrassing, to be honest with you. The fact that you would go to that level to make some kind of insult and all that is just it's childish. Honestly, at the end of the day, it's childish. And
listen, for those, and the real thing is here, listen, I have put a lot of time and effort into understanding vaccines. My job on a daily basis is to know exactly what I'm talking about. And what Block Rush is talking about is the ingredient that they use in this is called an mRNA vaccine. And what it does is it makes your body respond to the virus, right? So what they do is they take dead coronavirus cells that are not active, and they manipulate the cells inside of those cells to spike your immune response and to attack that particular cell in your body. That's how the vaccine works. You take the shot. When it senses it's running through your blood, when it senses those cells in your body, it attacks them with proteins. And so everybody that is a conspiracy theorist and gets their information off of Facebook or the internet, it's they're poisoning you. They're not poisoning you. It's technology that is advanced, and it is proven to work. That's why, I don't know if people, and here's the other problem, the Center for Disease Control yesterday put out stats on coronavirus breakthrough cases. And immediately the people who are anti-vax are like, oh, you can't trust the CDC.
It's only the CDC.
Again, Block Rush is a plumber who has no medical training, no scientific background, and it's people like Block Rush that question the CDC's information. So now we're discrediting scientists in the medical community who say, and grasp this number, it is not an exaggeration. 99.992% of all breakthrough coronavirus infections, which means, hey, I'm fully vaccinated and yet I got coronavirus. That's called a breakthrough case. 99.992% of all breakthrough coronavirus cases do not result in hospitalization or death. It simply means you test positive and you are usually what they say is asymptomatic. The vaccine and what you get is, oh, see, we told you vaccine doesn't work. Okay, well, it does work. Because what the vaccine does is it prevents you from getting sick. It does not prevent you from getting coronavirus, which is why you need to wear a mask. But we don't do that in this country, specifically in Florida, because that would be, too smart.
Be a violation of our rights.
And look, and I respect everybody's opinion. Everybody's opinion here is welcome. But when you come in and you run complete fallacies and lies about the coronavirus and the vaccine, you're going to get stomped on this show. Because I think our listeners on the regular are too smart and too educated and know too much.
We've seen this before.
Yeah.
Block Rush isn't the first one. We've had Driftwood. We've had several people who have come in here. And that's a beautiful thing. That's what I love about the show. And frankly, the listeners, to be honest with you guys, like, I love the fact that someone says something in the comments and there's like this like whole chain of like, no, like, this is what it is. Like, I love that, man. I think that's what this show's all about.
Nye Guy says, hey, give Block Rush credit, guys. He's got his information from Bigfoot when he quoted Loch Ness Monster. Exactly right. Exactly right.
Said.
Exactly right. It is what it is. Anyway. Mrs. Monty's out of town.
Yeah.
So I hate when my wife goes out of town.
Why?
Because, A, I don't sleep well.
Why?
Well, last night I didn't sleep well. I have a California king-size bed, which means it's a king bed that's longer. That's all that means. Did I sleep in the dead center of the bed because my wife's not home? No, I slept in the same place I always sleep. And it's just odd. We usually sleep right next to each other, and so when she's not there, it's odd.
I didn't sleep for the past 2 nights because of this. I was that upset.
Yeah, it's just odd to me.
Right.
And my routine is really the same. I get up at 4:45 every day. I'm usually in bed by 9:30. Like, last night I went to bed around 10:30, 11. We played some hockey last night. We had to work on the Amazon side hustle. We did that. Like, I ate later than I usually eat. I ate more than I usually eat. Like, I had weird dreams that I was chasing a bunch of friends of mine from high school.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
I had weird ass dreams last night. It just was odd. It was just weird. I didn't sleep great. My Apple Watch says I slept 4 hours last night.
That's not good.
I slept more than 4 hours, but
sure?
I didn't get great sleep. Yeah, I think Apple Watches are... any fitness tracker and sleep tracker has inaccuracies in it. Like, if you're living and dying on how many calories you burned in a day because your Apple Watch said so, you're crazy. They're not that accurate. But usually when it says I slept 4 hours, that means I did not have a good night of sleep. That means my watch was in motion and just not great.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Just not great. Nagai wants to know if anyone's checked on the vampire community. COVID got sucked... No, not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Eric C. says, does anyone here remember someone named Troy in the comments section way earlier this year? I do remember Troy.
Yes, Troy. Good pull.
I think Troy got banned. I think Troy was the truck driver, right?
Driftwood was the truck driver, but I think Troy, I don't remember what Troy did, but I remember him.
I think Troy got kicked off of YouTube. I could be wrong about that. Eric C. says, I will be one of those delusional fans. Haha. And I love fans. I love delusion fans. I'm a delusional fan. It just, yeah. I don't know. Please get vaccinated.
Yeah.
I just can't. The argument over getting vaccinated makes me crazy. Mighty Rhiannon says, remember when Jake Scott at 1280 The Zone mentioned a bulging D in an athlete's back, supposed to be a disc? People who talk for a living misspeak. Yes, they do.
Yeah, here's the difference, though. With all due respect, a bulging D is a little bit different than an N-bomb on SportsCenter.
When you're trying to say dinger and you say N-bomb.
That's a little different.
But it's the same mechanics.
Yes, it's the same mechanics, but again, I know I'm putting up a fight on this, but like racial slurs are in their own separate, more damaging category than, hey, this was a penis joke. That's different than like, hey, I said the N-bomb on SportsCenter. That's a big deal, dude. That's not just like a small mistake.
Eric C. says, I went on David Locke's live show after the Monty show yesterday and shouted out the Monty show in the comments section. Troy comments right away saying the Monty show is awful. Still salty. Yeah, our show sucks. I know. Like you can't show up here and just. I don't mind differing views. I
don't mind people disagreeing with us. We're not doing the show to have everybody agree with us. And if Troy is still all pissed off, with all due respect to Troy, maybe you need to get a life, dude. Like this shouldn't be ruining your day. It's a conversation about stuff going on, and that's where I always go with this. At the end of the day, whether we're talking about Jim Douche yesterday or Troy or any of these people, at the end of the day, you can't please everybody. So that's all I'll say, whether it's Jazz, coronavirus, whatever. Can't please everybody.
Wow. Is that the truth?
What?
Dennis Schroeder, late of the Lakers, is said to be in a state of shock and disbelief that he does not have a contract and that he is upset with his agent because they turned down that $84 million deal. The Lakers offered Dennis Schroeder an $84 million contract last year. He turned it down. And now there's talk that he may have to go and play in Europe because he may not be able to find a job in the NBA. Oh, that humble pie. That humble pie.
It's real, dude.
Monty, your show sucks, but somehow I find myself here every day. Well, thank you.
It's funny how that works, isn't it?
I
love that show.
Troy gets little sleep wearing that tinfoil hat, correct. That's true. You guys are great, but you do flip out when someone disagrees with you. Do we flip out? Yesterday, I listening back to the show yesterday, I agree. I did flip out a little bit.
Well,
I got a little heated about that. The misinformation on the vaccines thing pisses me off because it's literally killing people. People are dying because they believe that the vaccines are poison.
Yeah.
We talked about the KSL family that it's like, yeah, we know the church said to get it, but we're not gonna. We believe in God. It's like, wow. That's amazing. We don't need to get offended for others all the time. Accidents happen. Intentions are the key. Yeah, I agree with that. Brandon Whiteside said that. It is what it is. Listen, I love doing this show. I love that you guys are here. The audio part of this podcast, well, frankly, YouTube's doing great. The audio podcast, is crazy. It's crazy how many people are listening to the show right now. We really appreciate you guys. And we definitely do not want anybody, we definitely don't want people to feel like they can't be here. But the one thing that gets you flipped out on, Tanner, on this show.
Downsize your face with a shovel!
Is when you bring misinformation on vaccines.
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
By the way, bro, I don't watch CNN anymore. I really don't.
Uh-huh.
A friend of mine sent me I did not know that MyPillow guy was on CNN doing an interview.
Here we go. Okay, yeah.
Apparently, so real quick, not to get too much in the weeds on this because I actually have to go. But the MyPillow,
Mike
Lindell from MyPillow was apparently agreed to an interview.
Really? Wow.
A couple of weeks ago. And it was to promote his data hacking event thing that's going on August 13th, where President Trump's going to be reinstated.
Right.
He decides the good thing. Mike Lindell, my pillow, decides the right thing to do is to give CNN his evidence.
What an idiot!
So CNN hired 10 independent election experts to look at Mike Lindell's evidence.
Air quotes.
It turns out Mike Lindell's evidence is from Delta County, Michigan. And he says that Delta County is one of the main counties where Donald Trump won by 3 million votes, by the way. Or 2 million votes or something stupid like that. A bunch of votes. He says that the Chinese hacked into the voting machines in Delta County and changed votes to take away from Donald Trump. Well, the problem with that is Donald Trump won the county. The other problem is that Delta County doesn't use computers. They're all paper-based. There's no way to hack into their voting system. You have to bring your ballot. You have to bring your ballot. You have to fill it out by hand. It is not computer filled out. It is a paper ballot that you fill out by hand in the voting booth. And then you take that ballot and you drop it into a lockbox that is then counted by another human being by hand. There is no electronic counting in Delta. Oh, okay, so if that wasn't enough, Mike Lindell got all of the metadata from several areas of the country where Donald Trump lost. And he has this video where it's just all of these votes scrolling across the screen. And he says those are all the votes that were changed. Well, the problem is when they were analyzed by over 10 independent election experts, those are just voting rolls. Those are names. They're not even votes. They're just names and affiliations. There's nothing on his voter roll that says who they voted for if it was changed. He has no proof. None.
Classic. And
so the CNN report, he sits down for this interview with CNN after this. Like, why would you do that? And they say to him, well, our independent experts, and he cuts off the guy and he's like, they're all idiots. They don't know what they're doing. And so the CNN guy says to him, well, they're independent. They don't work for us. They don't work for, politicians. Their only job is to be election experts. And they say that there's no evidence of any kind that there's fraud, especially in your evidence, that these are just names of people who voted, which are public record. And he goes right into Delta County, Michigan. Well, in Delta County, Michigan, actually, I think it was like 300,000, but whatever. A ton of votes were changed.
Right.
And so CNN went to Delta County, Michigan, and interviewed all of the election officials there. And the lady says, I don't know Mr. Lindell personally, but none of our stuff is computerized or online. There's no way for the Chinese to hack our system because we don't have a system. People just walk in, they go to the booth, they fill out their ballot by hand and with a pencil, and they put it in the lockbox. And then a human being counts that vote by hand. We don't use machines. And so they go back to Mike Lindell and they're like, hey, by the way, they don't use computers here. Yeah, they do. What? No, Mike, we went to Delta County, Michigan. They don't have any computers for elections at all. Well, they store them on a computer, and that's when they change the vote. No, Mike, they don't store them. They store them in lockboxes in storage units. The paper ballot that he's crazy.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Whether it's Donald Trump or Mike Lindell, they lie and create their own realities. That's what I'm telling you.
Crazy.
Whether it's the coronavirus, election fraud, all these people are doing, all the usual names that we all know and love, they're simply just, my guess is they don't even believe that it's lying. My guess is that is just their reality. That's just kind of what they do.
Yeah. Okay. A couple comments, then we have to go. Tanner said, well, I said Kalani was overrated. You flipped your lid, Monty. No, I did not flip my lid. Endow Dog Strike. Okay. Getting my first shot today after refusing to get it for months. What changed my mind was my wife expressing her love for me and not wanting to see me in the hospital on my deathbed. Oh, my God.
Damn. Wow. Yeah, that's heavy, bro.
That's heavy.
That's heavy.
That's heavy.
Yeah, that's real world, though. That's how it is.
James Knight said, did you notice Growcock hasn't been cited since you gave that Xbox to him? Oh, he has been cited.
Yeah, he was on the show
2 days ago? Yeah, something like that.
What's today? Today's Tuesday? No, he was on the show Thursday.
Yeah.
Because we didn't do a show Friday.
And I've talked to him on Insta, and the problem is he's a teenager, man. The guy, like, it's nighttime in Australia right now.
Yeah, what is it? I think it's 11, and because when he won, the day he won the Xbox, we had DM'd him, or he had DM'd us, and we were talking to him. And he was saying, I think that 8 a.m. Mountain Time is 11 p.m. Australian time.
What time is it in Australia? See what she says.
Okay.
In Canberra, Australia, it's 12:23 a.m.
It's the middle of the night. Well, wait, James Knight's in Australia. You know that.
Yeah.
It is what it is, man. You guys haven't learned anything. All politicians are liars, every one of them.
I just said that though. Like,
every one of them.
Like, what do you mean?
Every one of them.
Every. We've talked about how Fox News and CNN and all these politicians, all they do is create their own reality. It just is what it is.
The Nye guy says Grocock is way too busy with the ladies. Yeah, that mullet.
Yeah.
That mullet.
Luka's
alone.
mom is in Australia right now. We all know that.
Brylark says the best part of the show are Jazz talking politics at the end. Ace is famous for saying the best part of the show is when you tell Jake to play the music, because then it's over. Ryan Buckley says, sorry I'm late to the show. Look,
Ryan, please.
Ryan, we've talked about this. Your tardiness is unacceptable.
Do you have a hall pass?
Exactly. We didn't talk about Barstool and MLB. But we got to get to that.
And we got to talk tattoos tomorrow.
Yes, we got to talk tattoos tomorrow. All right, there you have it. Make sure you follow us on Insta, TikTok, and Twitter, The Monty Show. I am The Monty Show. MONTY, The Monty Show. Jake is SLC Supercars. We're giving away a Traeger Ironwood 650 when we get to 2,500 subs.
The rise is meteoric.
You simps. I don't know why I like Sims so much. How many subscribers do we have right now? 1,605. Oh, so we had a good day yesterday.
Yeah.
1,605 subs. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.